What is up, guys? My name is Byron, and I'm here with my 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse OZ Rally Edition that has been K-swapped in the recent time, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons about swapping a K-series into a DSM, and the reason why I did it, and also just the history of the car.
All right, so welcome to another mini documentary. I'm switching it up a little bit this time with me being in the video with Byron, asking him just questions directly. So I want to quickly ask him, the beginning of his story, where you started, what got you into cars? Was there someone specific that inspired you to do anything?
In my younger years, I can't remember when I got into cars. It was just something that was just part of me since I was a little kid. I think it was due to my pops also being into cars. He actually owned a 1972, I believe, Datsun, which ended up selling, which I'm still mad at him about it. I grew up in the city. I grew up in East LA, and we grew up in the hills called University Hills. And next door neighbors, there were just a bunch of car guys. I remember vividly, every morning going to school sometimes. I remember his name is Sal. So if Sal sees this, what's up, man? He had a red Acura Integra. It had I'm not sure what year it was, but it was red, but it was like full on like Too Fast and Furious era. He had a full white cage, white interior. He had one of those big gauges as, the RPM one, right on the corner. And I remember he would do crazy burnouts every morning. And I was there with my backpack, me and my sister, we were just chilling. So cars have always been part of my life. And at a younger age, I also collected them. I really love to build them. I actually have model cars that I still have to this day that I used to build. So the building part of cars, the aspect of building it has always been a huge part of it. And then later on in the years, through high school, that's when all my friends were into cars, so you were always talking about cars during lunch, during nutrition, like, oh, I'm gonna have that car in the future, I'm gonna have that car. And for some reason, one of the cars that I really wanted was an Eclipse. And the reason why was because of Too Fast and Furious. But to even go way further back, I have this little white Hot Wheel that it's an Eclipse, and it has like the one with the turbo sticking out of the hood. With the big wing in the back. So vividly, that's what I remember, how far I've gone with cars as in terms of like my life.
So now let's get into this specific car. Like, when did you get it? Like, how was that first experience for it? For it to be your first project car, how did it feel for the Mitsubishi Eclipse to be that car for you?
It's crazy how it happened, but my sister Genesis, she's probably gonna watch this video, but my sister Genesis, she actually got an Eclipse before me. And I was so mad. Deep down inside, bro, when she popped up it was an RS, it was an automatic RS, 1997. So it was already like the facelift era. It looked really good. And it had like 19-inch chromies, bro. She was cool enough to let me drive it and whatnot, and I was like, man, I really want an Eclipse. Like, I was kind of like telling my dad, because at that time I didn't work, and my dad was always the type of guy that said, like, focus on your studies. Like, he was that type of father, so I respect him for that. But during that time, I was like, well, I really want an Eclipse. So because of that car that she got, I kind of like started looking into the market, like what kind of Eclipse I was looking for. Yeah. And because I already knew what an RS was, it didn't mean that I knew what a 4G63 was. So I went into Craigslist at that time. And at that time, the prices were really good. The DSM prices were really good. I was searching around and I saw this car. It was listed for $3,200. And it had 97,000 miles, and it was super clean. It looked exactly like a GSX. So in my eyes, I'm like, wow, this thing's clean. And the paint was as clean as it is now. Obviously, like over the years, it's been sitting outside sometimes, so it has, the color has faded a little bit. But when I saw this car, it was between this and there was a green GST. So when I told my dad about the GST, we went to go look at it, right? Yeah. And that thing was just clapped out, bro. And no power steering, which I don't have power steering in this car, but my dad was like so against it. I was like, Dad, it's race car, you know? Yeah. But because he was helping me in like purchasing the car, I had to respect him as well. So we ended up looking at this car, and when I saw it, bro, I kid you not, like the paint was so clean. So I took it out for a test drive. Homie, I still know him, the guy that sold it to me, which to this day he tells me like, dude, sell it back to me. Yeah, he wants it back. But I'm like, nah, bro, I already did way too much work. But keep in mind that I got this car before I even had a license. It was just out of just me hating on my sister, and I told my dad, hey, I want a DSM. But pretty much I got the car, and keep in mind it was a low mile 428, which was very well taken care of. I had almost like zero mechanical issues with the 428, so I'm not the type of 428 owner that comes from a background of being with a car that was, you know, badly taken care of. You know, the car that I got actually was pretty decently taken care of, and I would actually drive it, I guess you could say, soulfully, and it would still be okay. Obviously, it wasn't, I guess, like the longer I owned the car for, I realized how much base models were looked down on by the community of, I guess you could say, DSMers. So unfortunately, at that time, I didn't have money. So in my eyes, I'm all like, well, I mean, I can't just sell my car that I just purchased, you know, like, especially that I went on it with my dad. So I kind of like, well, I kind of lived with it for some time. I'm like, well, I can't really do anything from the engine, because I'm all like, it's either I go turbo or either I built the block, because that's what you do with the 428. Because full bolt-ons won't get you much unless you go nitrous or something, or tune. But I ended up just keeping it the way it was, and I ended up doing a lot of cosmetic mods. And that's when that transitioned into posting more about what I was doing on YouTube. And I did do YouTube for some time. And that's when, like, it just, there's only so much you could do with the car, as in cosmetically, before it's too much, especially with these cars. Like, the shape of it is really nice, and there were some things that I was thinking of doing that would have just been overboard. So like, and I'm not saying it's overboard for you guys, but for me it's like, so like a wide body, or let's say you put like an APR wing, you know, all those things are nice, and cosmetically for that right person it is. But I kind of like decided that it's better to keep it true to its kind of state. And I guess you could say now this car doesn't have, you know, all like the nice carbon fiber parts and whatnot. But like I said, it's to show you that it's more so respectfully letting the car do, I guess you could say, every shape and form that the manufacturer or the person that designed the car. It's respecting those body lines. And I'm not saying that it's bad to alter. It's just in my case, I already did all that, and I kind of just like, okay, I kind of sit in this side of the spectrum.
So why did you case swap your Mitsubishi Eclipse?
Because they're better than the 4G63. Just kidding. Better than the 428, I think, as well. Nah, I'm just kidding. So here's the true reason, and I was talking to Miguel about it before going on here. Every engine has potential. It just depends on the amount of money you have and amount of love you have for that engine. So he went with the 4G63. I went with the K series, and it wasn't because I actually wanted the K series. It was a thought, okay? But unfortunately, a lot of you guys know that I owned an RSX as well. I was actually a DC5 owner for some time, which I missed that car so much. But I got cut off, and I ended up T-boning a car that cut me off in an intersection, and I couldn't. My brakes locked up because I had come out from the gym. There was an intersection. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lakewood and Lakewood and Firestone. There's an In-N-Out there. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys seen accidents there. Unfortunately, the RSX was one of them. So I ended up T-boning a guy, and you know how like insurance companies suck. So they ended up totaling the car, which it was repairable. I'm not gonna lie, but just the reason that it was then just totaled, and then they said that they were gonna give me, I think it was junk money, bro. It was like $1,200 for like the car as it was, with the drivetrain, with everything, with the wheels. I was like, I'm keeping the car. So then I kept the car, and they ended up, you know, paying off whatever I actually, let me rewind a little bit. I bought this car from a dealership back in 2019, the RSX, second owner, beautiful car, man. And that's what's cool about having an RSX, or cars that you don't necessarily, or cars that haven't been touched too much is that you're met with a nice platform to be like, okay, I can modify this. Oh, I could start with this. So second owner RSX. So I started, like I said, I was gonna keep it stock because it was clean, but then I saw the A-Spec stuff, then I saw the Mugen stuff, and then you see all the bars that you could put, and then you see everybody enjoying it the way that it's supposed to be. So I fell in, ended up modifying this thing. So another money pit, right? So I had this car and I had that car now. So obviously my money was going into the K series because obviously that car was really fun to drive. Overall, the best daily, I think. If you want to get into like the tuner series, the tuner scene, and you can modify tastefully, it's not too expensive. The RSX is a good platform to get yourself into. So I'm met with this decision. So I had the car sitting literally in my driveway for some time, and keep in mind this car was sitting as well. So what would you guys do, huh? What would you guys do? Tell me. If you're bro, what else would you do, bro? Especially this was a base model, so 428, keep in mind, I couldn't do much unless I rebuilt the motor, turbo, X, Y, and Z. That car overall, at a stock form, was really fun. It's not crazy fast, but it's enough to have fun on the streets or in the canyons. So, boom, I made the decision. I was like, well, I'm gonna K-swap it. Did I know how to K-swap it? Hell no, I don't. So, I started, the reason why it happened was because I saw Mike, he had posted, I used to follow him on Instagram before, I think. And after I ran over a Facebook Marketplace post that said K-swaps. You know, K-swaps, I K-swap anything. So I was like, bet. So I hit up my boy, and sure enough, you know, it's crazy how everything worked out too, because he actually was a DSM owner back in the day. So he used to race DSMs before, a long time before us. So he lives up in like passing, like close to Barstow, like up north. So the desert area, you know, it's pretty cool. Up there's not a lot of cops. But I told him, you know, hey man, I have this DSM. I also have this RSX sitting. It got totaled, what, X, Y, and Z. And then he told me, he's like, bro, like, it's crazy, but like I've always wanted to do a swap on an Eclipse. And then that's when I was like, damn, bro, it's like everything was tying in together. So then that's when like I told him, like, you know, we spoke over like text, you know, what is gonna be needed and everything. And then like that's when I was brought with this. I was like, well, since you have that car with you, everything that you need for the swap is technically there. All the custom stuff is like all the extra stuff. But like, you know, that's when we come into like what you need for the K swap. Yeah. But that's the reason why I did the K swap, guys. It was because I had a car, an RSX already that had been totaled, that they were gonna give me trash money for. So it was either I fix it, I understand, but I had never seen a K-swap in the DSM, and I had a 420A that I was gonna put a lot of money into just to make a decent amount of power. So that's why I did the K-swap. What would you do? I'm pretty sure you would do too, huh? I kid you not, bro. Bro, if I was just a little bit taller, bro, I would have not liked this car at all.
I feel the RSX vibes. I know exactly what that feels like.
Right?
DSM. That's crazy.
Bro, it's a vibe, bro. That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, you gotta ring this thing out to actually feel it. But once you're like higher, like 6+.
Yeah, it's moving.
And now that it has 8,700 RPM red line, bro. Yeah. I'm like, bro, like you feel it, like dude shifts, and you're like, oh.
And the pops and bangs.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. It's the tune that he has. So after like between 4 and 5 and 7 and 8, if you like hang out in there, bro, it's like pop, pop, pop. Right here, it's just 2-step.
Oh, he for sure a Honda boy.
Okay, so like I wanted to add on the video is that it still behaves like a 4-cylinder like K-series. You gotta rev that thing out if you want to feel anything. So we actually just gunned it right now in 3rd gear, and we're kind of low on the RPMs, and you still feel a slouch. But once it rings out, you're like, golly, bro. Here it's just regular shifting. To cruise, you put it in 5th and 6th gear, and it just behaves like an RSX would, little 4-cylinder.
So now tell me the process of the K-swap. If for anyone that's watching this and possibly wants to do this, or is now they basically want to do the same thing, what advice or what would you tell them to do basically?
Well, this is to the down and gritty, because it really comes down to, a lot of people ask me like, how much is a swap? How much was it overall? Like, you know, a certain amount of a number that I could put on it. But in my reasoning, I had the car already. I had the whole drivetrain. So in terms of like the transmission off of, keep in mind this was off an 05 Type S. So it came with the K20Z1. So 210 horsepower, a little bit more than the A2, I believe, than the earlier model RSX. So you could do the K-swap with the K-series that you have access to. So I went with the Z1 because that's what I had, which it is a little bit more money because it does have the Type R cam, but you could go with something, you know, less, like an A2, and just run a K-tuner, or a form of tuning software that you could, you know, obviously still tune it and bring out more horsepower out of it. Obviously, it's cool to have like a Z1 because it's the closest, I guess you could say, to the K20A in terms of horsepower. But that's what I had. If you want to do this same K20Z1, it's gonna cost you a little bit more just because of the price of the block is a little bit more. And in terms of, if it comes with the transmission already, it's gonna be a lot more. So I've seen them sometimes for like $3-4 grand with transmission, or as low as $2 grand. So you could get lucky with that too, but you could get a cheaper K-series. I've seen sometimes long blocks go for like $800 on Marketplace. So let's say if I were to blow this up, I probably won't go with the Z1 anymore. Probably go with the K24, K20 top. So like, this is the reason why I have it the way that I have it. I didn't like, I choose, oh my God, I want the Z1. That's what I had, which it's cool because it's obviously the next gen of the K-series in terms of like, it came out in the 05, 06 RSX. You could go based off of other car swaps and understand what was needed to do that swap. So in terms of like, you're gonna need the harness, the front side of the harness. You're gonna need the ECU. If you're gonna go stock ECU, you're gonna need the immobilizer. The cluster, if you're gonna run stock cluster, keep the cluster. You could still run that. I went with the S2000 one. That was just because I wanted one. I didn't need to, but it's nice to have. In terms of the mount, the driver's side mount actually lines up just perfectly. So what you could do is get K-swap mount kits that are already off the shelf that you could use for the driver's side mount, for the passenger as well, for the transmission side. The only thing that we had to do, obviously Mike did a lot of this work, that he had to cut the transmission mount and move it forward to align with the new side, with the new mount on the K-series. The rear mount, that's the issue. That's where we're having issues, and it kind of leads me to this, that the Eclipse actually today, before doing this interview, I noticed that the car was rocking. Like the engine was like, okay, something's up. It ain't tootling anymore. You know, it ain't shifting the way that I like it. So I took a peek, and the rear mount actually is, again, it cracked. So this is the second time that it happens. Unfortunately, the first time it took my axle with it because I did like a full watt, like shift into second gear, and that's when like the whole engine jolted, broke back, and then my axle just popped out. It was like rat-tat-tat-tat, and I like literally like hit the floor. Good thing like first to second was like 45 miles an hour, so I put it in neutral. I was close to home, bro, and I literally came here, bro, and it stopped right in the front, bro. I got so lucky. I was like, that's the cool thing about testing your cars close to home. So that's the weak link of the car, the rear mount. Other than that, I actually have to upgrade a lot of these things. So, which leads me to tell you that this swap was done in 1 month. And because it was done 1 month, which is really cool, which turnaround time was insane. So shout out to you, Mike. The only thing is now, which he actually explained it to me, that now we have to go back and actually assess the things that are, weak. And that's one of the ones that is weak. The rear mount is one of the weakest things because it's a 428 part. Funny to say it, but the only part that we kind of like Frankenstein from the 5-speed 428 that I had was the transmission mount of the 5-speed is what is used for the rear mount of the K-swap. But obviously you shave the ears to kind of fit it in there. But unfortunately it's made out of cast aluminum, so it's so like if you knock on it or even hit it on the concrete, it's super just brittle. So it doesn't take pulls really well at all. So the next thing is to get a rear custom mount. So that's the next thing. I went with K-tuner. You don't have to go with K-tuner. You could go with stock ECU, like I said. Just keep the immobilizer. I lost my immobilizer, so I had to spend money on the K-tuner. That was my excuse to spend more money. It's okay. that's what happens. And it's a basic swap, guys. It's nothing crazy, which leads me to the axles. Sorry, the axles were custom made. They're inner K-series splines, and then the outer DSM ones. It's funny, but the RSX and the DSM have one spline difference, which sucked because it could have worked. Yeah. Lengthwise, I had to extend it once already because it did pop out that last time. So I did extend it about, I think he told me like 3 mils. So it's a little longer, and that's the driver's side. The passenger side is fine. The other weak link is the open diff, guys. This thing torque steers like a lot, like crazy. So especially that I don't have a crazy alignment right now, so it's kind of like scary to drive at times. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what you need for the swap. All the other like the whistles, the bells and whistles, you could you could add those things after. They don't have to be done in the moment. But like if you guys are gonna see the shots already. It looks like stock, which that's what I was kind of shooting for the swap to be, the first phase of it, because I really do want to boost it, guys. I really do want to do all these crazy things for it. But I wanted to get a car that you do a swap and it looks like, oh my God, it looks like that engine belonged there. And kidding not, this engine did belong in this car. The way that it handles now compared to before, I'm not saying like it's like a demon, but in terms of chassis, the weight of the DSM, especially the GS RS, are lighter because they don't have the rear subframe, they don't have the rear differential. This car behaves, it's very light. It feels like my RSX on steroids, I guess you could say. And also I have the cage, chassis stiffer. Everything on this car in terms of suspension work was for the track. It's crazy how drivable this car is now, especially now that it has a 6th gear. In the freeway, I'm chilling. Yeah. And even like during, like you guys are gonna see on the driving lines a little bit, it behaves like a regular car. It doesn't behave like a choppy car. And once you get in it, it behaves like an actual track car. So VTEC comes in at 4,500 RPM, red lines at 8,700 RPM. So it's kind of fun, guys. It's like, I'm like, damn, bro, when am I gonna shift? And then I'm like, boom.
All right, guys, so that's pretty much for the interview with Byron today and his 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse with the K-swap. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you're interested in reaching out to Byron or finding out more information in regards to the car, I'll go ahead and post his socials in the corner of the video. And besides that, that's pretty much it. Check out the other build series videos throughout the playlist. And thank you guys for watching.